Jen, how do you create your YouTube banner channel art? I cannot for the life of me figure out the sizing, how to get it to fit on a desktop and a phone, how to make it look good, what should I put on it? Let's talk about that today. Let's take a deep dive into Canva because Canva is life when it comes to creating graphics, especially if you don't feel like a graphic designer. And I'm gonna give you an insider's look inside my brain on how I make things look good. Here's the deal. If you are not someone that feels like you're a creative or you have no desire to do your graphics because you feel like it looks like a kindergartner did it by the time you're done, that's okay. You still wanna watch this video because I'm gonna show you the things that you wanna make sure you're including on your graphics. So whether you're creating it or you're outsourcing to somewhere like Fiverr.com or to someone who's gonna create it for you, you know what to be putting on your actual banner channel art. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things so you and I can hang out here every week. My name is Jen Johnson. I'm a high-performance Christian business coach, teaching you how to build your faith and your business together, creating content and digital products that turn your purpose into profit. So let's go. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna wanna do is head over to canva.com. This is where I create all the things, whether it be graphics or PDFs, YouTube thumbnails. I have an entire playlist around Canva, which I will link here so you can check it out. There is a free version of Canva, so if you already have it, you're good to go. If you don't, you can head down to the description, grab your free version, just set up your login. There's also a paid version which gives you some extra features as well that is absolutely 100% worth it. I believe it's like 12 bucks a month. If you want to grab that, you can. But either way, you'll be able to do what I am going to be sharing with you here today. So what you want to do is once you have your account set up, you're going to scroll through the different templates and you're going to find the one that says YouTube channel art, which is 2560 by 1440 in pixel size. And you're gonna click on that exact template. Then what we need to do is we need to grab an actual YouTube banner channel art template guide to know the exact image because we're not gonna be covering up this entire landscape here. So what we wanna do is head over to Google and type in YouTube template and hit enter. Once you do go into the images, and it should be one of the first ones that pops up. We're going to be using this actual template guide here. So what you're going to want to do is right click and save that image. Once we have it downloaded, we're going to head over to the upload section and then select upload an image or video and then go grab the download of that template. It will bring it into Canva so we can drag it on over. Now this is going to give us the exact area we're going to work with. So let me give you an example with my actual banner. I used this actual template and you can see that I'm only using this middle area here because that is the actual size that we need for the YouTube banner. Now, as you look, you can see that this phone, for example, is not entirely showing. That's okay. I don't need the entire phone to show up on my banner. I just wanted a portion of it too, and I'm okay with that. So no, you can work outside of the lines of this template. Just know that if it is outside the lines, it's not showing up on the banner, but that, that's totally your preference. What we're gonna do is head over to this actual area and you can see this shaded area, these two squares here, that's the desktop maximum that you can use that entire landscape and it will show up on the desktop fully. Now, if you go from here, this little darker shade boxes, this is the tablet area. Anything past this is not going to show up on a tablet, and anything past this dark box in the center will not show up on a mobile device. So you want to make sure the most important things are showing up in the center here. For example, this is not showing up on a mobile device. It's probably not even showing up on a tablet. So you can have these extra things and elements on your banner. Just make sure the most important things are in the center of your banner. So you might be thinking, well, Jen, what are those important elements? So let's start stacking the actual banner step by step. The first thing we want to do is create that very first layer, which is your background. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. Now stay with me because it can get a little wonky, but the first thing you can do is just have a solid background if you want. So the thing is if you drag this in or you click it and it goes into the background, you're going to lose your actual template. No worries. All you need to do is go back to where it was and drag it back over the top of it. And when you go to the right-hand side, you'll see this little grid here that says transparency. When you slide it, you'll see that your background is right behind it, but you do want to have this grid here so you know where you need to be adding the actual graphic pieces that are going to show up on the banner. So if you happen to lose it when you add an element or a background, just go back into the upload and swipe it back in. This is one option for you. The other thing you can do is you can actually have a background photo. So that's what I did. And you can just type in a keyword. Maybe you're in baking or beauty and you want to, you know, have makeup, or you want to have desserts, or you're in business and you want to put a desk or a laptop or something like that as a background. You can do searches up here. If I was to type in desk, it'll bring up a bunch of different styled desks. Some of these are free. Some of them you may want to purchase an actual graphic from here, and it's only $1, so it's totally worth it. So if I go to baking, for example, maybe I want to use something like this. So I will drag this in. Now there's two different ways you can drag this in. And the way that it becomes tricky is if you drag this in and it just automatically embeds itself into the entire graphic, it's going to make it a lot harder to, you know, have this go in. You're kind of, sometimes you could start to battle each other. Notice it doesn't save it. So sometimes it gets a little wonky. You got to play with this. But the other thing that you can do is if I come into photos and drag this in, I could always come in and keep dragging. Don't release it until it becomes a smaller image, and then you can blow it up, and now it's something that is a stackable image. So you can have a lot more room to play with it that way. If I, now it's positionable, it's stackable, and you can see now that it's working here. But for this particular image, what I would do is actually make this image be the smaller one. So I would drag this in, go to the photo, and make this the smaller photo, because I want to try to get all of these little elements onto the actual graphic. And what I would probably do is rotate it. And this is where you get to have fun and be creative. But let's say we want to rotate this and put it right in the middle here. And we want to have some room for some text as well. So we're gonna do like so. Now keep in mind that all that's really going to show is this area. So if you want to crop it to show a specific amount of something or other, you can, and now it's gonna show, you can kind of see the whole area that it's going to show. From here, if I wanted to overlay this with text, which I recommend you do, you can always fade this so it's not gonna be as prominent. Again, this is the text and logo safe area. So you could put this image here, or you can move it a little bit over here, and maybe you don't even want that in that area. Maybe you just want it on the sides, you know, so you can really play with this. I can copy and paste and then crop again, and maybe I want to use a different part for the other side. So just something that you can really have fun with, and kind of, I just like to play around with this so that way it gives me some options. And if you want to see it a little better, I'll increase it here. So maybe that's what you want the sides of your banner to look like, and that's fine too. So just play with this. And then in the middle, you want it to be, you know, it could be just plain white, but I noticed that this actual graphic had some room. So if I go back to baking and I grab this again, I could take a whole nother piece right here and have that be the center. So notice you can pull elements from the actual graphics as well, which is pretty cool. So we can extend this out, make sure this is fitting within. If it goes a little over, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be seen regardless, so it doesn't have to be perfect for this. We can drag this over a little bit. Perfect. So now you can put your actual text here. This is where you could type whatever your name of your channel is. For me, it would be Jen Johnson. And you know, you always want to know like what your fonts, or if you have a specific logo you want to drag in. I do have an actual video inside of my YouTube channel on how to make logos inside of Canva if you wanted to include your logo. But you always want to know what fonts you're using, your color schemes, and things like that. The cool thing about Canva is it will actually save your color schemes, and you can actually save the actual colors you like to use all the time as a branded you know, color scheme inside of Canva. So whenever you pull up colors, it'll actually show you your primary brand colors, and you can play with that. just note, like, let's just say you're going to put your name, and if you're looking for fonts, you can actually go to places like defont.com or Creative Market. If you're wanting to grab a unique font or purchase a specific font, you can do that, but Canva also has a slew of fonts, so you could just choose, you know, some of these are ones that I've actually uploaded, but let's just say I wanted to go with this one. So now I can put my name there. Now the other thing that is good to have on your banner is your actual, like, what do you do? I'm a high performance business coach for Christian entrepreneurs. So telling people what it is that you do, having a specific title there, and then how often are you showing up? You know, some people love to put they do videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I just know I do videos weekly, and that's what I commit to. And, you know, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss one. And that could change later on, but my rhythm right now is I just like to pump out as much on here in a week that I can commit to. And so that could look different for me every week right now. But maybe for you, it's very specific days that you are loading and you're only doing 1 or 2 videos a week on a specific date. That's always a good thing too. You want to put things like that in the center so people know who you are, how often you're going to be here, and you can even have a picture of yourself. Now, how I did that, you can really just take whatever picture. So for example, here's a new picture that I took recently for another YouTube video. And the cool thing that you have with the paid feature now, and I do a whole nother video on this, is if you go to effects, you can actually remove the background. And this is such an amazing thing when it comes to creating your YouTube thumbnails. So if you want to check out that video, you can. I'll link that here so you can watch that after this. But it's very cool because it's about to remove the entire background. And look, I kind of match what's going on here. That's funny. Typically, you want to be on the right-hand side. So what you can do is actually, you can flip the image. So I'm going to flip it this way. Ta-da! And now I'm going to be facing this way. I'll want to obviously shrink my head so I'm not like out of the picture completely. Now I have this, and this might be too big of a text. So let's like lower this a little bit, because you have to remember this is going to be on a mobile too. So it doesn't really need to be as big as you think. And then from there, I don't know, I could put world class baking instructor. I don't know. Let's just say that's me. I am actually a baker, so this is kind of funny. We'll just size this up the way that we want it. Again, you want to choose your font. You want to make sure it's aesthetically pleasing. You can play around with your colors. I mean, noticing like the other elements, maybe a red, because there is a red, like a little bit of red here. There's a little bit of pink here. So maybe you want to do a lighter pink. Now, if you want to do a lighter color, that's totally fine, but you want to make sure it's also going to be seen. So adding layers is what really makes these graphics look good. So if you head over to Elements, and I close out of that, you can grab something like a square, and you can resize this, and you can change the color to be white or whatever color you want. And then what you would do is just drag it over the text, and then you can position it backwards. So that way you can actually see it here. So this just gives you some ideas on the ways that you can layer and stack and get really, really creative with what it is that you're doing. Maybe you even want to do this a little more fun, like you want to do it kind of a little more diagonal. Then you can actually duplicate. If you highlight this back element, you can duplicate it, and maybe you want to go this way, and we'll go like this, but you can position it backwards so it's not covering up what your text is here. But then you can duplicate that text again and say, you know, videos every Tuesday, and maybe you want that to be in a different color. Maybe you want that to be in red, and you can kind of style it this way. And maybe you want this background to be more pink. You decide. This is something that I could really do all day long. So that's kind of cute if you do something like that. Now, obviously, we got to make it to where that is seen. So we're going to move this and just get it angled properly. And then you can play around with the font sizes and things like that. You don't really know until you upload it to YouTube if like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And what's cool is you can actually, to add that little element of red for this sake of this actual photo, we can go to Elements and type in YouTube, and it will give you little YouTube icons here that we can make really tiny, and we can actually stick it here to go right alongside this actual text. So people know, hey, on my YouTube channel, there's videos every Tuesday. So something like that. So from there, another cool thing that you can do is you can add a call to action. So remember, we still have landscape over here that will be seen if people are on a desktop. So you want to make sure you're using that. Plus, if you look at my YouTube channel, you see here where it says, there's a free masterclass. And so you want these buttons are so important. You want to make sure your social buttons are here where people can actually click on those to hang out or to grab your masterclass or to grab whatever your call to action is. Maybe you have a free guide, maybe you have a special training or an event that you want to invite people to. You want to use this area well so people know exactly what you have going on that they can actually take advantage of right now to create a quick win or to create extra value on top of what's going on your channel. So think about whatever that's going to be, and then you just want to be pointing people. You can create something like this, whether it's a phone or maybe it's just an actual circle that you do. You can come into elements again, and we can grab a circle here, and we can just say, maybe you just want to tell people to subscribe and remind people to subscribe to your channel, or you want to highlight that you've been featured in something specific. That's something that you can maybe put over here, featured in Forbes, featured in Huffington Post, or maybe you have a top rated podcast, or you have a community that you run that you want to also let people know and be aware of. So there's different things that you want to be sure that you're including, so that way you're taking advantage of all of the landscape. So as you can see, on mine, I put lead like Jesus, create your vision, impact through service. So these are just some of the values I have, the beliefs I have, and I just want that to resonate with my audience. And then also, having that call to action over here. So there's a lot of different elements and a lot of different things, but having a picture of you, if you're looking to raise your brand and influence, is important. Who you are, and how often you're showing up here on your channel, and what are some of the things that you're going to be covering on your channel. If you can just nail that in certain bullet points, then that's going to be super key. So I could even say here, lead like Jesus, create content and digital products, like something very direct. So just know that there's a lot of room here, but also remember that the most important things are going to be in the middle so people can see it. So we've created this graphic, and now we're going to put this as a pink color, and we're going to put text over here that says join my next class, right? Maybe I do live classes for baking, and I'm going to teach you how to make holiday sugar cookies for Valentine's Day or something, right? So I can do a call to action over here that says join my next class. I can even put an arrow. If I type in the element section, I can type in an arrow, and there's all these different arrows that will come up. You could do a little doodad like this, and what we'll do is just make it a little smaller. And again, you can rotate this stuff and have a lot of fun with it like that. And it looks really cute, and it's gonna lead to the button. I might want to make it a little higher just to leave room for that thing that's gonna show up. Let's have some fun. Let's say I could put as seen on Cupcake Wars. Who doesn't love Cupcake Wars, right? So I could add that there and create some sort of, oops, if you ever mess up, you can always go undo. And I can add that somewhere over here, and you can kind of again look and see if you have your guide there. Always good to keep the guide there. I can see, okay, this is going to work on a tablet, but it wouldn't show up on the desktop now, or it wouldn't show up on the mobile. So if I wanted to, I could make it smaller to where it does show up on the mobile. Again, adding another element. You can grab a square if you want to and make that small enough to where it gives, again, some extra texture, and change that color, position backwards, and ta-da! You can even frame this, so you could do like a square frame. And as you can see, some of these are free, some of them are paid, some of them you know, we can make this really fun. Let's see if this would even be one that would make sense. It kind of looks like a TV, right? But, you know, maybe that looks too chunky next to what's going on here. So you always want to make sure everything's in alignment and lined up evenly. So it might make sense to just move it over here. So that way it's just not in the way. You know what I'm saying? And then you can, again, change this. And then if you want to change the text, you got to move the layer of that frame is in the way. So you got to move that. Again, you want to find what font it is you want to use and then make sure, you know, it's fitting in the box and all that jazz. So here we can put, you know, maybe we put black would probably be best. So whatever it is that you want to do, you just want to make sure that it's all even. It looks like this would probably want to be moved over a little bit. So this is where like you just want to get it done, but you also want it to look good. So this can actually be bigger if you want it to. These little lines will tell you when it's even. So that gives you a good guide. Here it is, the final, and I added this little element over here, and I have this a little bigger over here. Now let's just say, like for me personally, I don't like the blockiness of the background. Like now that I have it done, I feel like it looks a little choppy. The background's not very smooth. But rather than starting over, what you can do is duplicate this, and then you can just eliminate that element, which is what I did down here. I decided to just make it all one picture so it flows a lot better rather than it being chopped up. So as you go along, if you start to see it come together and you're like, oh, I just don't know about this background or I don't know about a certain element, don't delete all your work. Just take out, you could duplicate it and then you can compare the two together. So what I did was I deleted this and then I grabbed that photo. I brought it back in, but I turned it the way that I originally had it, like this. And then I just enlarged it to go all the way across. Then I moved it to where it's supposed to be. I will crop it here in a second because I want to make sure I have all the elements that I want on the picture. And if I wanted to, I could kind of move this to, you know, see what else I can add in the picture or if it's just the right, you know, the right look of what I want. So let's say that's what I want. I like that. Now what I can do is position it back. I just got to keep hitting backwards to bring all my elements back to the front. But I do want to lighten it up a little bit and make it a little transparent. You won't really see this until you delete this background, but now notice that it's a lot lighter, so it's not so dark and taking up too much attention from the text. So you can always lighten it up so that way you are getting what you want. Now I find that this might be a little hard to read, so I can, you know, make that black or however, you know, you just kind of start making these little tweaks until you're like, yes, this is what I want it to look like. And then you can download it and upload it to your channel. So we're going to hit download and download this graphic. Then what you would do is while that's preparing, you would go to your channel and see up at the top here where it says has this little pencil. You would edit your channel art, and then we're going to select the photo that we just downloaded, and there it is. So I would click on that and it would upload it and give me a preview of what that's going to look like. Ta-da! So there you have it. This shows what it would look like on mobile. This shows what it would look like on a TV and what it would look like on a desktop. So all of them fit. So remember, you can always add something a little extra here for that extra landscape with those different calls to action I recommended. So you're, again, using your landscape to the fullest. Now you might be thinking, how do you actually add these links? So again, if you notice, you can actually edit the links here. If you go to the pencil, you're gonna edit the links. So this is where you would actually add your links, whatever it is that you want. This is actually a free masterclass at this point. So I'm gonna change that to free masterclass, and then you would put the link to that in your Facebook page, Instagram, your blog, whatever you want to link people back to. Whatever you want to add here is totally up to you. Once you add it, you just hit done and you are good to go. And there you have it. That's exactly how I go about making my YouTube banner channel art. If you have any questions, definitely be sure to comment below because I would love to support you as you're going through the creation process. You got this, you can do it. As always, if you are not a part of my Facebook community, Your Creators Corner, would love to invite invite you in there where hundreds and hundreds of Christian entrepreneurs just like you are learning to build their faith and business together as a community. And also be sure to check out other Canva videos I have on my playlist so you can learn how to create your logos and just more about Canva in general so that you can step up your game when it comes to making all your content look amazing. As always, keep the faith, impact the world. God bless, and I'll see you soon.